So I've just got a few questions, and this is, covers kind of two things. One, to help other people make a decision, and I also like to get feedback on, how we handle everything and ways we might be able to improve. So,
All right.
So, what was your situation, and why did you want to sell your home?
Well, we bought a business in Portland and needed to get out of the state quickly, start making money on the business that we're paying for, so we decided to look at this route instead of selling traditionally and having 2 house payments at the same time.
Cool. So, where did you start your search for a solution, and how did you decide to work with our team?
So we started contacting our old realtor.
Yeah, we contacted our realtor that sold us the house, and she told us we were probably looking at least 4 months to sell it. So I was like, I wonder what the buy it now type people will offer. So I started searching all the ones, looked at places that didn't have a bunch of negative reviews on the Better Business Bureau, and found your guys' site online, so I gave you a call. You were the only one that actually came out. I talked to multiple people, and they all said they'd look up information and never got back to me. So
Okay, I'm glad I followed through then. Good. So what specific problems did our team solve for you?
Kind of were on a time crunch for one, for sure.
Well,
Because we knew that we'd have to do a lot of renovations and stuff,
Yeah, it saved us money from having to replace the flooring or refinish the hardwood, and then got us out of paying 2 monthly payments for however long it would take to sell on the market. And explained everything easily about, especially since we're doing the seller financing.
Yeah,
method.
which is more complicated for sure.
It's definitely more scary in that fact, 'cause now it's still technically part of us, but I think we're all secure in the contract and everything like that. So
Yeah. So what made you nervous about seller financing, and what did we do to address those concerns?
well, the main concern was, what if we sold you the house and you were just like, we don't want it anymore, take your payments back. And well, for us specifically, we set up payments ahead of time in escrow, so we don't have to worry about whether it's going to be paid or not, because there's money already sitting there for the payments. And then the whole, what is it, trust and deed or note and deed, to where if you do any of the work and decide to dump the house, you just got free work basically.
Right, you have the power to foreclose if we don't follow through. That's right.
Exactly. But yeah, that was my main concern. So once we got all that stuff and just got everything explained more thoroughly, then I'm satisfied with it.
Good. Did anything concern? Because I was talking mostly with Bryan in kind of the early stages. In the background, what concerned you, Sarah?
Basically, I think the most is what Bryan said, is that you guys would just decide that you didn't want it and leave us with it.
I'd say the other concern was, what if, obviously we don't expect it to take forever to sell, but what if it didn't sell for like a whole year or something, and then we still couldn't buy a house in a year, even though we don't plan on buying one within a year. The option is nice, obviously. It's in the contract that if it's not done within a year, it'll be refinanced or just taken off our credit altogether, basically.
Right, we've got a balloon payment at 12 months.
Yeah.
So now, if one of the things that Christina mentioned was a default rate,
Yes.
right? Which means if we go over, we're actually paying you 12% interest.
Okay.
So if something happens. Like, we're not wanting to pay 12% interest, right?
Yeah,
So it's an additional incentive to get us to make sure that we follow through.
Yeah.
So we're trying to layer in multiple protections, so to speak. So great. So did our team do what we said we would do?
Yeah. Everything went smoothly.
Yeah.
It did. Actually, it was really smooth. And, you know, that's definitely a big part, you guys, you know, with information and being super easy to work with. I really appreciate that, too.
Yeah.
So, and did we treat you fairly and with respect?
Yep. All happy there.
Whoa. All right, and this last question is actually my favorite one. So, having gone through the process of selling now, what advice would you give to somebody who's still trying to decide what to do?
I guess it just depends on your situation. If you're willing to sell it at a lower rate than you could get on the open market and you understand that, then this all works perfectly fine for you. But if you're one of those people that's rather gonna sit on a house for possibly 6 months to a year to make maybe $5,000 to $10,000 and think about all those months of payments that you just put in there, how much you could have saved. That's part of the reason we went with this one. It's just because, you know, after interest and everything, you really don't get back all that much out of those months that you were waiting.
I think like
I can tell you're an engineer. Very analytical. That's good.
I think like advice would be like to look at all options. Just because like when Bryan told me about this option, I was like, there's got to be a catch. It seems super sketchy, you know. And I think that's a lot of like what people think. Like
Yeah.
to be honest, you know, people are like, well, I'm gonna have to sell my house, and it might take 6 months to a year, like you said. But it's the only safe option, you know. But you know, there's you need to do your research and figure out what's best for you. Definitely look at all options you have.
Good advice. Awesome. Thank you.